All right, Spencer Sutton here, and we are in the West End of Birmingham. And today we're going to answer the question, should you buy this rental property? We're at a house today. I'm going to show you around the neighborhood. Remember, we like to look at it as a funnel, what area of town we're in, the street scene, and then we look at the actual house. So we're going to walk through this property. Craig's going to show us around. He's going to point out anything that needs to be taken care of in this property. We're going to look at the numbers, and then ultimately we're going to decide, is this a go or is this a no? All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is really West End, where this is in Birmingham. As you can imagine, it's on the western side of town. There are parts of West End that are fantastic, and then there are parts of West End that are not so great, and you just need to know where you're buying. So as I'm looking around this neighborhood, I'm seeing some things I like. I see pride of ownership in the properties around here. I see a couple of churches. Now, there is next door to our subject house, there is a vacant property, but the great thing about it is it's owned by the church, and it's an expansion, a part of their expansion project. And so they're going to do something with this house. Now, normally I wouldn't recommend buying a property with commercial property right next to it, but I will make an exception in this case because it's just a small local church, and there's not going to be a lot of traffic coming in and out of this property, more than likely. So when I'm looking at West End as a whole, I need to understand what I'm getting into. And then when I look at this street scene, I'm giving the street scene a thumbs up. I would absolutely buy here. And now what we want to do is we actually want to go inside the house and determine, is this a property I want to own? All right, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to walk with Craig through this property. We're going to take a look at it, and then I'm going to be just explaining to you what he was showing me and how we evaluate properties. This is something we do for any client who's looking to buy a property, and this is exactly what you should be doing if you're an investor and you're looking to invest in low to moderate income parts of town. No matter what city it's in, you're more than likely going to find older house stock, and so these are some of the things that I think will resonate with you if you start doing that. But what we want to do, the reason we're recording this video, is just to get you used to talking about and looking for the same things that we do, and we have literally examined tens of thousands of houses. So let's go ahead and look at this property together, and I'll just point out some things that Craig was telling me as we walked around this house and walked all throughout the inside of this house. So you can see this is very, very typical of these older houses. There is a lot of paint. This house has been probably painted a lot. The outside is not really in bad condition. You're going to see a few things here. Craig is actually pointing out some rot that needs to be taken care of. He did estimate for some windows to be replaced, not all the windows. He's pointing out different things about termites and different things like that. So these are things that you should be aware of, but just understand, if you're buying a house, especially this one was built in 1930. So this is almost 100-year-old house. You can imagine this house has a lot of wear and tear on it. And no matter how good you are at repairing things and renovating things, what you want to do is you want to get it rent ready. And that's very much different than retail sales. The AC looked great. It was installed 2019. So this thing is fantastic. Again, Craig was pointing out that some people had just tried to keep this thing together, these windows together, that he needs to replace. The foundation actually looks really, really good, solid. There is some flashing that was not done well, and so you had water leak down. The roof is actually decent. He was telling me the roof was good, but then he was also telling me that there was a big gaping hole up there that there's no doubt you're going to have squirrels and possums and raccoons and all kinds of things get in the roof of that property. So you want to seal that really, really well. Now let's go inside the house. This is something we recommend everybody seal up their chimney, seal up their fireplace. From a flooring and paint standpoint, the house is actually pretty decent. You can see the floor looks a little rough right there, but it's not all that bad. It just needs to be clean. Craig's checking all the electrical outlets, making sure that they're good, in good shape, and they're grounded, and all of that checked out according to him. Again, I just wanted to show here that the paint was decent for the house. I mean, this is something you wouldn't have to repaint. Now, that shot of the hardwoods looks bad, but it really just needs to be cleaned up. You're going to have these hardwoods have been like lived on. They're gonna be a little bit rough. This is the kitchen. The thing that I noticed about the kitchen I didn't like was there was not a lot of cabinet space. There was probably cabinet space right there where he was motioning. You're going to have to put a vent there. There's going to be room for a refrigerator, a stove. The countertops looked decent. Again, this is rental grade countertop and sink. You don't need to do anything more than that. There's a hole where rodents have got in. You're going to need to take care of that. The panel is actually in really good shape. He said they put this in so that they would not have to rewire the entire house, which that's fantastic. Bathroom looks good. It's adequate. It's not the worst we've seen. He says that this needs a new vanity, so we're going to replace the vanity. The flange needs work there on the toilet, but the shower background and everything is adequate for the rental house. The tub didn't need to be replaced. All right, so I want to stop right here. Something that Craig is showing us here is just how tall the ceilings are, and this is something that you need to be very aware of when you're buying older houses. A lot of times, when this was built in 1930, there wasn't central heat and air, and so the ceilings were tall. Now, when we place somebody in this house, it's going to take more energy to heat and cool this house. This is just something you need to think about. I'm thinking these ceilings were 9.5 foot ceilings or so versus the typical 8-foot ceilings. So just something to think about. And so that's it. We basically walked through the property. We pointed out anything that we thought would be interesting to you to notice. And so let's just talk about the numbers of this property. They were offering this home at $79,000. This home would rent for in between $800 and $900 a month. This would be Section 8 or private pay. And we believe, Craig walked through it, he believes he's estimating between $12,000 and $14,000 of rehab. And so if you were paying essentially $80 and you put $14 in it, you'd have $94 in it. And then some closing costs and things, you'd be close to $100,000, and you'd be renting it for $800 or $900. And really what you would want to do at this point is you would want to get with your agent. You would want to make an offer on this property, and then you would want to schedule a true inspection, a full inspection, and get that report just to confirm that all the things that we've been through, all the things that we've seen are true. Still, in these areas, you want to make sure you're being very, very thorough, understand what you're getting into. But for the area, West End, for the street scene, which I love, and for the price, around the price and what I know I could rent it for, to me, this is a thumbs up. So that's it. I hope this was beneficial to you. If you'd like to see more videos like this, go ahead and subscribe to our channel and let us know in the comments.